Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and we got some massive news in Destiny 2 with more changes coming once Lightfall does hit. We already knew about the loadouts coming, we already knew about the in-game LFG, but now we've got a mod overhaul that I think is long overdue, and I'm excited to see how this all plays out. We know Lightfall is going to be a drastically different game than what we're playing right now, with all of the changes coming, and I think that's a good thing because it does need a bit of a freshen up heading into the road to the final shape. So jumping right into it, this is my kind of initial reaction to all of this, so I'm excited to check it out and see what all is going on in this article. So current builds crafting system relies heavily on a mod library that has grown highly complex and at times confusing, especially for new players. As someone who's been playing since day one, I've kind of learned and adjusted as it goes. But if you miss some time, if you missed a year, missed 6 months, and you jump back in, not knowing what builds are really viable, buffs and nerfs have happened, not knowing which ones you have, if you're missing some important mods in your library that you have to go to 801 to buy, I think that's really gotten a little bit much, I think, for everybody. And yeah, it just makes it really hard to catch up when you're crafting these builds. So, the TLDR consolidation is a major theme of the changes you're seeing today. Current mod system has been built piecemeal over the years and contains a lot of redundancies. Loadout system empowers Guardians to suit up for whatever task on the fly. Again, up to 10 slots available to save multiple loadouts. Single screen also provides opportunities to create and share their loadouts with the community even more easily. That'll be good, yeah. So when I'm doing a build for a video, I can just show the screen and it'll have everything on there that you might need for that build right in one place, which is massive. So mod customization screen will make managing mods easier, similar to the Guardian appearance screen. That makes sense. Champion counters are being spread between artifact, perks, subclass abilities, and more. I think that's good. Adding more ways to take on champions to make builds more flexible is important. Updates and mods to streamline the process and bring new and exciting build potential to Destiny 2. Taking the opportunity to touch and tune every single mod. Removing energy types from mods and armor. I think that's a good thing as well. No more switching between energy types to find the mods you want. Nice. Reducing the pressure on armor energy by retuning armor mod costs and changing artifact perks to no longer require mod slots. Okay, so your artifacts won't actually require mod slots anymore, so they'll just be auto-populated on your weapons or whatever the case may be. So that's huge. Moving weapon type-specific mods to damage type-specific mods for increased flexibility in builds. Again, simplifying things and then allowing that to kind of grow over time, I think is important. Loadouts. Quickly swap between entire sets of gear. Decrease the time between play sessions caused by needing to rebuild a loadout. Create ways to label loadouts for quick identification. So here we go. It says raid, so you can customize the name. You've got the armor set. You've got the mods. You've got the weapons. Okay, that makes sense. A warlock with 3 loadouts created out of 6 slots they have unlocked. So you unlock your loadout slots. That's kind of weird. You will be able to unlock all 10 slots by progressing through the new Guardian rank system. Each loadout label has an assortment of colors and icons to choose from, including Crucible, Raids, Trials, Gambit, damage types, and more. Okay, so I don't know if I love the fact that you only get 10 and they have to be unlocked. But again, I don't think it's the end of the world, to be honest. I don't know how many. Like, I'll have one for PvE, one for PvP, and then maybe some different subclass ones. I don't think I'm going to need 100. And I think you start with a few based on if you've already been playing the game. When Lightfall goes live, it'll be a new ballgame of sorts. Things will be different, and you'll have a blank slate to start cooking up new builds. So, problems the team want to solve. Cut down on time managing mods. Remove limitations that created confusing experiences. Giving players more understandable ways to earn mods. That's huge. I don't want to just go buy them from 801 all the time. Remove the need to wait for 801 to... There she is. Retune mods to give players more forms of expression while also tamping down on areas of power creep. So here's a recovery mod. That's pretty standard. But if you see the one next to it looks new, actual. So, okay, we'll see how it goes. As far as energy costs and all that kind of stuff. It looks like that adds discipline as well. That's confusing on the side over there on the right-hand side. So that's interesting. Mod customization will be easier. Oh, so you can do it all on one screen with all the different mods. Okay. I like that. Not bad at all. Also, tab at the top of the screen, you can switch over to see what perks and stats your current weapons have without having to switch back to your character screen. Again, that's huge. That's huge. Having it all in one place is definitely nice to see everything your build has going on. I love that. Earning mods. Historically, mods are unlocked in a variety of ways. Most part, waiting for 801. Wanted to remove the waiting game. All mods will be unlocked by achieving Guardian rank 6. Most players who have spent some time in the game will start out at rank 6. That's massive, so you'll have all the mods. Instantly have all mods ready to go out the gate. New players will unlock them as they climb through the ranks. So look out for more Guardian ranks info coming soon. That's another massive change coming to the game is the Guardian ranks as well, which I'm excited to see once it does launch. So mod energy types being removed, eliminating the need for 4 different versions of a given armor piece. Thank you. I'm so grateful for that. We're also converting the combat style sockets into an additional mod socket for that armor slot, helmet, garlands, etc. We're also reducing the energy costs of many of those mods, helping you get more opportunities to mix and match. Additionally, armor mods that previously provided benefits to weapons based on their archetype, hand cannon and loader, for example, will now instead provide benefits to weapons based on their damage type. Okay, interesting. This levels the playing field for all weapon archetypes and should make it easier to put together a powerful suite of mods to benefit multiple weapons, your loadout sharing a damage type. So essentially, if you're making like a void build and you're just swapping out void weapons from an SMG to AR, hand cannon, whatever the case may be, it's going to work across all of those weapon archetypes. So that's massive as someone who likes to lean into those builds sometimes. Artifact mods will also be translated to unlockable perks, no longer need to be socketed. So what does that mean exactly? Let's say anti-barrier weapon has seasoned pulse. Change means that you'll no longer need to equip a mod for that, taking up precious space and energy. All your pulse rifles will automatically have anti-barrier applied. As you can imagine, every single artifact mod active at the same time would be a little OP. Because of that, you pick 12 of them. Okay, so you choose which 12 perks you want active at any given time. And it's free to reset the artifact. So essentially, you pick your top 12 options and then go from there. The potential there is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know if there's like costs to which 12 you can have, or you can only have certain number from each section, for example, like the last row. Because imagine having weaken clear and monocratic or solo operative or one of those mods. I've kind of blanked on the name there, but you get the idea. So imagine having all of those unlocked at the same time because they don't require certain costs. That'd be crazy. So what does this mean for Artifice Armor? Starting in Lightfall, Artifice Armor will have new unique mod slot that grants additional points to your character stats, strength, mobility, etc. Round out your stats for the perfect your builds. Yeah, I mean, Artifice Armor is really not all that necessary, I think, going forward. So game, set, match. Match game is being removed from high difficulty activities. Good. I thought match game was not great. It was probably the worst of the modifiers in endgame activity. So they are base shield resistance to non-matching types is adjusted 50%, similar to Gambit. I think that's not a bad idea. And we'll have some other ways for you. So basically you can break those shields. It's just significantly easier if you use the right energy types, which I think is important. Because you can do a void build and still crack those shields instead of it feeling like you'll never be able to crack a Grandmaster shield that has match game. Unless you have that energy type. So that makes sense. Another thing that has huge impact to your build is champions. We want to make counter champions more logical. So the subclasses are now going to have intrinsic anti-champion abilities. So Solar Void and Strand can counter barrier champions. So when using volatile rounds, for example, you can pierce the barrier and stun the champion. Radiant, etc., etc. Strand will also have a method. So Arc Stasis is Void counter. Arc Stasis and Void can counter Overload, and then Arc Solar and Stasis and Strand can counter Unstoppables. Okay, so I like this, and then you can really lean into that as well. And so your build will help you take down champions as well as your actual weapons. Charge mod, socketing armor mod that uses the armor charge system, gives you access to the system. The functionality of taking charge, picking up an orb of power to gain 1 stack of the charge, now granted you whenever you have any armor charge mod equipped. Okay, so you don't need like anything to generate the armor charge. Many mods that previously created elemental wells or give you stacks of charge with light have been converted instead to create an orb of power. Okay, so you're going to be creating orbs of power everywhere, it looks like. You can now hold between 0 and 3 stacks of armor charge by default, which appears as a buff in the status effect area. So you can now see how many stacks you have there. That's huge. By socketing chest armor mods charge up, you can increase your maximum number of armor charges stacks as high as 6. Some mods provide passive ongoing benefit while you have any stacks of armor charge. When you have one of those armor mods equipped, every 10 seconds a stack of armor charge falls off. Players can extend this decay time by socketing the extended charge mod. For example, Font of Wisdom and the head socket will provide a bonus gain to intellect while you have any armor charge active. Okay, that's an interesting change. Some mods consume 1, 2, 3, or all stacks of armor charges on a particular trigger, granting you an instantaneous benefit when they do. A few other mods, stacks on stacks, etc., can modify the armor charge system for you without providing you a specific benefit while you have armor charge. Finishers will now consume armor charges and not dip into your super energy. Okay. Interesting. That's a very interesting change. Elemental wells evolved. So while many of the mods previously created a benefit from elemental wells are going to instead focus on orbs of power, some of the aspects of elemental wells aren't going away. Instead, creating elemental wells with each subclass will create damage type specific spawned objects. Ionic traces for arc, we've already seen those. Fire sprite for solar, void breaches for void, stasis shards continuing for stasis, and strand will have one as well. Ability to spawn these objects will not come from armor mods, but from your subclass instead. With Ember of Tempering, for example, is active for solar hunters. It'll now create a fire sprite when you defeat an enemy with a solar weapon. Okay, interesting. Well, the main goals here is streamline build crafting. We have had to do some tuning while we're under the hood to address some of the power spikes certain build combinations created. As we previously said, we looked at every single mod and some were changed, moved to other slots, transitioned to other abilities, or removed. With the removal of armor energy type and the consolidation of mechanics in the armor charge, some mods became redundant and were removed entirely. Some ability gains, stat bonuses, and weapon damage bonuses for mods have been reduced, though we also added some new mods to expand your build possibilities. As an example, mods that aren't coming along for the ride of Warmind cells, these are a relic of a different time and already been nerfed, etc. So no more Warmind cell builds, which is kind of a bummer because I thought they provided a unique aspect to the game to do something a little different with your builds, but they've been pretty bad recently, so at least that's something that makes sense, but is still a bit of a bummer. Covered a lot, and know there are going to be questions. We'll have more to say on this, along with a plethora of other exciting changes coming alongside Lightfall's release next month. As with everything involved in supporting Destiny 2, this evolution is not an endpoint. We have plans to continue tuning and improving over the course of time. Overall thoughts, I'm excited about this. I think it's a net positive change we're gonna experience some growing pains once Lightfall does hit, as everyone kind of learns the system. But again, I think the overall goals are to limit power creep a little bit from what we've seen in the past. Expand upon build crafting so you can have more versatile builds and have a little bit more variety and really play into the way that you want to play if you really want to do something specific. We're going to have loadouts. We're going to have additional ways to take on champions, which hopefully will reduce those pain points. So overall, I think it's a W. I'm excited to check this out. I can't wait to get hands-on. I'll definitely have a ton of builds with the new system once it does launch with Lightfall. So definitely stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, right? I'll be throwing up a ton of videos that you need to check out, so make sure you're subscribed. If not, come on, what are you doing? Hit that like button, and I hope you have a good one. My name is JoPaWrites, and I'll catch you all later.